The epic tier is stacked with great options. Now that the new season, rank 3.0, gadget change, and balance changes have all come out, I'm here to give you my top brawlers to push, unlock, and upgrade so you can put your hard-earned credits and coins to good use. Kicking off number 10 is going to be an old reliable brawler. It is going to be none other than Belle. Every meta, Belle has been in a top 15 to 20 play rate in professional gameplay, and this monthly finals was no exception. She was the 18th most played, but her win rate wasn't great. It was only 38%, which is definitely on the lower end. However, she's played so frequently because she's a safe pick. She's never going to be a top 5 option on any particular map and mode, but she's going to be a very good option for pretty much every map and mode. Belle does well in the gym comps right now too, which I will add is one of the free brawlers that are power 11 that a lot of people are trying out right now in ranked, so having Belle on your side can be a plus into that. She's well-rounded, but never a tippy top option, so she's just going to cut it at number 10 here. Number 9, and one that may surprise some of you all, is going to be one of the newer brawlers in the game. It's going to be Meeple. I know Meeple wasn't great, but he did get a balance change that I think has made him a very legitimate brawler. The biggest thing with Meeple is the control he can bring to your team. He's not the healthiest brawler, he doesn't do the most damage, but the circumstances that he can give your team an advantage are huge. If you're playing gym grab, for example, say the enemy team has a very aggressive brawler that's really threatening your backline or just getting close to you. Obviously, Meeple usually can't handle that very well, but if you drop the little cube gadget and you have a super, they're trapped inside a wall and you get free shots that do 3,000 plus damage. A few taps later, your entire team has wiped one of their enemy brawlers and essentially given you an advantage. Think about this as well. If you trap somebody in a cube that is their gym carrier, you can reset a gym count. I've had this happen several times where my games are looking bleak. I need a big pickup or turnaround, and I just use a Meeple super gadget combo and it ends up saving us the game. One thing I didn't think of, but have since tested, and honestly I think I agree with at this point, is if you're using him in hot zone, especially on these single zone hot zone maps like Dueling Beetles, Open Business, you drop the cube right off the rip in the game. They're essentially not going to be able to get percentage points early on in the game. Your team is immediately going to take a lead and advantage, and as the game progresses, you can trap the enemy brawlers that you need to trap, get those ISO kills. It's an awesome way to just get free numbers and free percentage points, or in gym grab, get that turnaround event. It's like a Tara super or a Gene pull. Obviously, this is a very new meta. We've had balance changes, we've had gadget reworks, and this guy wasn't super relevant beforehand, and I'm still going to give him time to grow. I'm sticking him at 9 for now, fully anticipating that maybe this next monthly finals goes by and pros really value him. So for now, he's a number 9, but I do think he could potentially grow here for what it's worth. Number 8 is going to be the big man. It is none other than Frank. Gadget change and balance changes aside, Frank is still very relevant. I don't think he's quite at the tippy top of the meta like he used to be, but he's definitely a solid brawler to unlock and upgrade. He was the 8th most picked at a professional level in the previous monthly finals, only a 40% win rate, and I think that's because Frank's a little more circumstantial now. Frank's not so good to the point where you can just draft him first overall in the upper ranked or just play him wherever you want. He's still good. I love him in Brawl Ball and Hot Zone, but he's more of a 6th pick. He's a win condition now. He's not necessarily some guy that's always every time going to be able to carry your team into whatever matchup. There's just too many good anti-tank brawlers in the meta right now. Ones that come to mind like B, Lou, Maisie. There's a lot of ways to deal with a Frank. So if you have an enemy team that doesn't have enough damage output, you can draft Frank at the end. And if they're not going to be able to take him down, he can just be a sponge, get some big time damage, walk your team up the map. And even if he's cycling his supers well enough, you can open up the map if needed. There's a lot that Frank can bring to the table. It's just not as consistent or easy as it used to be. Number 7's a brawler I went back and forth on, but ultimately I'm landing here with Maisie. Maisie is definitely a good brawler. She's different than say Frank, who's a 6th pick win condition. I don't really see her that way. I don't think that's how pros are drafting her. Her super is a great deflator of enemy utility gadgets, of them getting aggressive. You just mess with them, push them back, you slow them, you get the tags, and you move forward with the game. She's excellent at Brawl Ball, Hot Zone, and I think she's a very good shout in gym grab. Additionally, at the monthly finals, she won 2 of her 8 sets, which honestly isn't great. That's only a 25% win rate. I'm going to keep my mind open though, because a lot of pros speak highly of her. They still really like her. They're still practicing and scrimming with her, but I'd like to see a little bit better result, especially before I recommend that to players like myself who aren't necessarily as good of a pro, not going to be able to land those shots as easily. So it's a little tricky sometimes to play Maisie, but I think if you're very good with Maisie, you can definitely make it work. Number 6 might just be the best sharpshooter in the game, and it is going to be Angelo. Look, to be honest with you, there's nothing new with Angelo. He's still a nuisance. He does high damage. He can travel over water. He has a super that heals him and poisons the enemy. Great gadgets. I think all around, Angelo is still one of the better brawlers in the game. One of the reasons why he can't go higher on my list right now, though, is in the ranked 3.0, we did lose Heist. We got Brawl Hockey instead, so we do lose one of the game modes that Angelo is honestly better at. Maps like Bridge Too Far and Safe Zone are out of the equation. That's no fault to Angelo. I still think he is an awesome brawler. I still think you're going to be able to win a ton of games with him, but if you're looking for somebody where you need a lot of maps and modes, this might not be the guy for you. But if you're trying to specialize in Heist, Bounty, Knockout, those kinds of modes, this might be one of your better bets. Number 5 is one of my favorite brawlers to play as of late, and it is going to be Ash. The Trash Can was the 10th most played brawler in the monthly finals and had a 61% win rate, which which is so good. I recently mastered him, so you can check that out if you want to see more details on how to be good with Dash and my journey throughout all of that. He's a playmaker. He's got this great passive-aggressive combo. His spawners can be a real tough thing to deal with for enemy teams, and honestly, his hypercharge is one of the most slept on in the game. 12 of his little rats is nuts to deal with. I love him for Brawl Ball, Gym Grab, bushy maps, you name it. I think Ashe is going to be a very legitimate option. He's only number 5 on this list because I do think there's brawlers ahead of him that may be stronger or applicable to more game modes, but nonetheless, I still love using Ashe for ranked, ladder, you name it. He is great. Number 4 is a brawler that has skyrocketed up my tier list. It's one of the newest brawlers that got a hypercharge, and it is going to be B. Maybe it's a little high, I don't know, but you can play B just about anywhere. B is such a good shutdown option into tanks, slowing down enemy max compositions. There's just so much that B can do, and the hypercharge just gave her a little extra boost along with it. In the new rank 3.0 lobbies, B is played the 11th most in legendary through masters lobbies. Not to mention too, with the gadget change, the unlimited rattled hive is kind of crazy. If you're ever in a pinch or a bad situation, I'm just popping gadget after gadget after gadget. You can cycle so many of those in a game. It gets you control. It does some nasty damage. I think that's another reason why B has gone up my list. She's one of the better anti-tank brawlers in the game. She's solid for Brawl Ball on maps like Pinhole Punt, Sneaky Field. She's going to be good at getting rid of those aggressive, tanky options. Not to mention too, the single zone, hot zone maps like Open Business, Dueling Beetles. She's always been a solid contender for that. B's going to be one of the most versatile brawlers. If you need just a brawler that can play just about any map and mode and be a solid, safe early pick in your drafts, this may be the best place to go. Number 3 is a brawler that I think has finally caught some traction with the public's eye, and it's going to be support brawler Barry. Barry has now been popularized a little bit more because I think people watch the pro scene and they now realize just how good this guy is. In the opening monthly finals, Barry was played 3rd most out of every single brawler and had a 75% win rate, which is astronomical. Easily one of the higher monthly finals win rates I've seen considering how many times he was played. He's got lots of maps and modes, the amount of heals he can deliver, the control he has, the focus and advantages he can bring to your team make him so valuable. I dive into this a little deeper if you want to check it out in a recent video that I did talking about all the support brawlers and how valuable they've been in the pro scene and what they can do for your all's games as well. The thing holding him back from being higher is that 75% win rate, of course, comes at pro play, and for a lot of casuals like myself out there, Barry's not necessarily as easy to gel or win with randoms. If you're playing with teammates that you know and you all are being strategic about what brawlers you're playing, what maps you're playing, so on and so forth, if you're playing a little sweatier, if you will, Barry can sometimes work. But if you're just playing your average diamond game with randoms, Barry can be a little bit trickier to make work. He as a brawler is very strong. I can't quite put him in the 2 or 1 considering the other brawlers ahead of him, just because I think these other brawlers are a little bit easier to play with any combination of brawlers. But nonetheless, Barry is special and he should be treated as such. Number 1 and 2 were a couple brawlers that I went back and forth on, but ultimately here's where I landed. Number 2 is going to be Stu. Stu did receive a Gasso heal nerf, but to be honest with you, when I'm running that hypercharge, I don't really notice it. You can skate across the entire map and still heal up just like you used to be able to. At a professional capacity, he was the 4th most played brawler and the 5th most banned with a solid win rate. In rank 3.0 between Legendary 1 and Masters lobbies, he's also one of the higher played brawlers and has a very good win rate. He is one of the tougher skill expression brawlers at times, I would say, but I think he's a good enough brawler to where a lot of players can still be perfectly capable with him. One thing that Stu's so great with, especially if you're a rank 3.0 grinder, is in the draft, he's a very safe early pick. You can never really go wrong with the guy. He's one of the top dogs in the newest mode Brawl Hockey, and honestly on a must ban list for me considering the mobility he brings and the amount of supers you're cycling for free shots. Outside of maybe KO and Bounty, I'm pretty much playing him in every other game mode and map. I will add though, I think the new change to gadgets has helped Stu quite a bit. Having that speed zone down constantly is a huge advantage for your team. You all know how valuable somebody like Max can be, and obviously the speed zone's not quite the same thing, but you have a controlled area where you can have speed pretty much the entire game. He's a playmaker, a fantastic option if you're in ranked 3.0 or ladder, and definitely the definition of an S tier for me. You should be picking up Stu and trying to give him a go. And finally, the number 1 brawler who has made one of the greatest comebacks in Brawl history. It is none other than Hank. This guy was swimming with the fishes not a week ago, and now he's a top dog in Brawl Stars. What a crazy turn of events. Hank's hypercharge has helped him out tremendously. It is easily one of the best ones in the game. In Legendary 1 to Masters lobbies in the current ranked 3.0, he has a 59% win rate. That is insane. He's also banned quite a bit, so that could be a reason why his play rate's not as high as it already is. Intuitively, when you see Hank, you don't think of open maps being a good thing, but now we've taken a weakness of Hank's and made it a strength. On the open maps, his hypercharge homing missiles can connect with so many people for just free damage. It's not hard to hit at all because it does the work for you. Not to mention, it doesn't take too many supers to charge up that hypercharge, and he has the tank trait, so he just absorbs damage and charges his super. He's unstoppable unstoppable at getting that hypercharge. Additionally, his super heals him so he can stay alive a lot longer, and if you pair him with good brawlers like Poco, Byron, who are already good in the game, and heal him, you basically have an endless level of Hank. I don't know how long it'll last. I'm sure there's probably a nerf to some degree incoming, but for today, the #1 brawler in the epic category has got to be the Shrimp.